has that. But before we do that, I want to introduce you guys to a friend of mine. I was in LA. Yeah, you come up, Andrew. I was in LA for almost a decade, about a decade more or less, and served there as a pastor. And one of my good friends that I met right before I ended up leaving, it's kind of sad. We became friends right before I left. Um, Pastor Andrew is the pastor at ThriveLA, and it's a church in LA. Is it technically Silver Lake, or is that's not the right? Filipinotown. So way off, Jeff. No, just kidding. It's LA. So I invited him to share this morning a little bit about his church, what's going on there, and a way that we can partner with them. And I'll say more about that in a moment. But I want to introduce you to Andrew. So let's give Andrew a warm welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to be with you today. As Jeff mentioned, my name is Andrew Alesso. I'm one of the pastors at ThriveLA Church. Actually, we planted the church. A little bit of my backstory quickly is that I did not grow up in church. And in fact, I grew up with a little bit of chaos in my life. I went to 15 different schools in the greater Los Angeles area, and I was kind of passed around living with different aunts and uncles and babysitters and things like that. And in my teen years, I ended up in the 661, a little bit down the road in a place called Lancaster. Lancaster, one of the few places. Yes, thank you. Yeah, my people. I ended up in Lancaster while my mom was in rehab in East Hollywood. And there in Lancaster, I found the hope of Jesus Christ in a church that welcomed me in not only for the forgiveness of my sins, but to really be my family. And it was in that environment that I experienced belonging in God's forever family, hope for a future. And I read the Bible for the first time when I was 16, and I was like, everybody's got to know this. And everybody's got to know about the love that God has for them. And so a missionary impulse was started in my heart for those who didn't know Jesus Christ and for those who are hurting and suffering in this world. And I was really grateful to have pastors at the church in Lancaster who shaped me and mentored me in ministry. But I also had that heart for the city as I would go into East Hollywood every weekend to go visit my mom. And then eventually was really shaped by another moment where my sister went off to UCLA and she wanted to become an actress, and she was living in the city. And so there was these two groups of people in the city that I had this heart for. These artists who were trying to make their way and were working as baristas and were working as bartenders, and those who were hurting and poor and addicted and in need of a family. And so in 2016, my wife and I, worked with an organization called Stadia that had a mission. They said, we won't stop until every child has a church. And I wanted young people like me and even floating millennials like myself, but also young kids to find hope and family in a church and mentorship and a place of rootedness. And so we planted that church in 2016. It's been a wild journey. The first barista I got to know in the place I started a book club now leads our setup team. And a barista at a place called Gigi's Bakery was leading our tech team until he took a full-time job in Vermont and sadly left us. I think about some of those early years, an older widow who was living in a rent-controlled place, paying $400 a month on her Social Security, while the place next door was renting for $3,900 a month, the same size. And she was there, like, gutting it out, and she would come to our church, and she said, I don't really have any family. My children are estranged from me. And I remember one of our congregants saying, we'll be your family. She was baptized in our church, and after she passed away, her estranged son came the following Mother's Day and said, whatever you guys were doing in your mom's life, I want that for me. And so this has been the mission of our church since the beginning, and we've been so grateful for it. And it's been beautiful, but it's also in the city just outside of downtown Los Angeles, a place of incredible need. 99% of our community rents. The median income is actually below the poverty level, which means that more than half of our community cannot pay for rent, food, transportation to work, although they are working full time. And so the needs are great, and our heart over the years has been to be both missionaries to help people know of the love of Jesus Christ for them and the hope they have for a future in God's family, but also to be a place of rootedness, a place of stability, a place of safety. For those who came to the city on a dream, leaving their families and their churches on purpose, who needed to sort through their doubts and life choices. For those who are there as immigrants trying to make a life for themselves. For those trapped in generational addiction or poverty, to find a place where they could find a path forward. We've tried to create that place of family where strangers are siblings, where outsiders are treated like insiders, and where we can have all the hardest conversations. That journey has taken many twists and turns. We've been meeting in an event rental space warehouse on a week-to-week basis, where we have it for 4 or 5 hours on Sunday, and they can kick us out at any time. Last week, we met in my house because they had a better paying renter. And so just recently, a really kind and generous church a couple blocks from us offered to let us move into a new space where we could have 24 access to this space, meet on Sunday mornings, cut our rent in half, and continue our ministry there. And most importantly, our young people have all started to have kids. And so about 40% of our church on a Sunday is now kids, even though we had 0 kids until I had the first one, and he was just by himself. But now 40% of our church is kids, and we're going to be moving to this new location with the kids space. And so we are really excited to create an environment that feels like a living room and feels like family, and to build out a kids space to continue serving the community as we continue our vision to make sure that every child has a church. We're really grateful. There's a church in Santa Clara that's been partnering with us to pay one of our staff members as a missionary in the city. We're really grateful. We're in partnership with a church in Missouri that's working with us to help start more churches like this in the city. And we're grateful for you, and I'm grateful because Pastor Jeff, your pastor, has been an incredible friend, counselor, encourager, and partner in this work for years now. And so I want to say thank you. I've been praying for you for longer than you may know. You're meeting me for the first time, but I've been praying for you since Jeff started talking to me about you, like we were like teenagers, like he was meeting a girl, and it was like he was telling me about you. And so it's been fun. I'm so glad to get to know you. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. And I would ask you to be in prayer and in whatever ways you feel led to be in partnership with us as we continue this mission. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Yeah. So in light of that, one of the ways, and so this is one of my biggest hearts. I'm taking my glasses off so you know it's serious. One of my biggest hearts is that whatever we do here does not stop with us. Whatever God is calling us to be as a church, it should never end with us. If the blessing ends with us, then it's not a blessing. That's the way the Lord works. And so one of the ways that we can partner with them, there's 2 ways, and this is kind of my call to action, whatever you want to call it, is that I want to take a love offering. And so I'm going to give us the rest of the month of December. On December 28th, I want to encourage you to pray over whatever is above and beyond your normal offering, to pray what the Lord might lead you to give specifically to them. So you can just, as a general gift, and that's I think our calling as a church, is to be generous with what God has gifted us, to bless others as we've been blessed. We've had this space, this church has been here for about 20 years now, and it's done amazing things, and the Lord will do more amazing things so long as we keep pursuing him. But he wants us to be blessed, to be a blessing. And so that's one way. The other way is, and I'll send this out, I should have had that for a screen, I'm sorry. But I'll send it out this week on social media and through email. There's an Amazon gift list. So if you're like, hey, I feel more comfortable buying something specifically rather than just giving generally, you don't trust Andrew to spend the money well, whatever, he's a likable guy. Okay, good. He's also got a flyer. Awesome. So you can go and he'll get you the link on that. Just a list of things that they need specifically. And again, they're reaching people for Jesus like we want to reach people for Jesus. And we want to partner with other churches that are forward-minded, want to reach people with the good news, want to encourage people with the fact that God is not done. And in a place like LA, you guys don't understand. Like, as I was sitting here, I just was transposed back 2 or so years ago when I first started the church in LA. And I remember when we left, I was like, God, why were we here? Because I got some wounds. I'm going to be honest, it was hard. And Andrew could tell you stories. It was not easy being a pastor in LA. It was not easy for my family. It was a really difficult season. But as I was sitting here right now, I was like, duh, this is why. Like the Lord never lets anything go to waste. Right? And if just one person here gives to this and that one person affects another person's life for eternity, that's all worth it. Whatever I went through is worth it. That's the gospel vision that God wants for us, is to see that we are all missionaries, no matter where we go, to take the good news with us, to impact lives. And so I want to pray over Andrew. I want to pray over Thrive right now.